Once again, welcome to our midweek uplift from John Wesley United Methodist Church here in Victoria, Texas. Every week we bring you just some encouraging words of hope and challenge and comfort. This is presented by the lay folks in our church, and we're glad to welcome you. And this morning, Sulan Hatcher is going to share a few words with you, and I think you'll enjoy them. I encourage you to listen, and maybe join us again next week. We are also on Sunday morning at 10:30, same time, same station, and we'd encourage you to come and share that time with us as well. God bless you. Good to see you. Glad to have you on board this morning.
We're in the midst of Advent season in our church and in many other churches of the world. And I would like to tell you some things a little bit different about the Advent season today. My information comes from a book by James W. Moore. And I'm in a Emmaus group that I've been with for about 20 years. And we study a book every once in a while, like you do in Sunday school. And this one is about Advent. Behold, I bring you glad tidings of great joy. There was a little boy named Joey a long time ago, and he was so excited because he was going to get to be in the Christmas play. And he was the angel, and he only had one line, but it was the most important line in the little Christmas play. He was supposed to say, behold, I bring you great tidings of good joy. So he didn't quite understand it. He thought he could memorize it. But so the teacher got together with him, and he said, "What? I don't know what bold is or what tidings are." And she said, "Well, think about if you saw something that you wanted your friends to see, and you ran and got them and said, 'Boy, oh boy, have I got something to tell you.'" So the night of the play came, and he had memorized the verse so well. And when they opened the curtain, he saw all the people, and he just went blank. He didn't remember what he was supposed to say. They came on, and it was his turn to talk, and he ran out and he said, "Boy, oh boy, have I got something to tell you." And the people in the church thought it was so cute, and they remembered it for years. Well, boy, oh boy, have I got something to tell you today. But I want you to think about the Advent season and forget about the commercial part of Christmas, the decorations, the gift giving, and the food preparation that we all go through. And think about Luke. All of this comes from Luke, the first chapter. And the angel came to Mary and told her that she was going to have a baby. And she accepted it without question. That's how good her faith was. And she was such a faithful person that this was fine with her. But she said, "How can I do this when I'm not married?" And he said, "The Holy Spirit will come and you will have a baby." So God's news was to Mary, and she accepted it with God. But think about what she went through. How was she going to tell her parents? How was she going to tell Joseph? And think of some of the other things that she went through. The pointed fingers, the false accusations, the raised eyebrows, the questions, the gossip, the criticism, the family pressure, the crude jokes, the cruel laughter, the poverty, the heavy taxes, the hard journey to Bethlehem, and the birth of the child with no doctor and no midwife and no anesthetic, nothing but her faith in God. Well, at this time, a few months before, the angel had told Elizabeth that she was going to have a baby, and she was at too great of an age to have a baby, but she had one. And so Mary went to stay with her for a little while, and Mary accepted her. She was different than the other people. She had faith in her. And when she went to her, there was no jealousy or skepticism and no questions, just loving affirmation and positive reinforcement. All of us need positive reinforcement. We need somebody to tell us when we've done something that's been good or that's been nice for somebody else. And we all need that. And one time there's a story about a professor in the college. He was a psychology professor. And when he gave his lectures, he walked back and forth in front of the people, of the students. And one day he got called out. And while he was gone, the students in this college decided that they would check him out on this reinforcement. So they said, when he goes toward the door, let's act like we're not interested, let's yawn, let's just play like we're not paying any attention. And when he goes toward the radiator, let's, oh, that's wonderful, we like this, and act and give him reinforcement. And so each day he kept going toward the radiator, and finally at the end of the week he was sitting on the radiator giving his lecture because he was getting affirmation. And this shows you that no matter how educated you are or what kind of a position you have, you still need to have reinforcement once in a while. And that was Elizabeth's job. She did the encouraging. And so the first thing about Advent in the story of Luke is the good news of Elizabeth and her encouragement, and the good news of Mary's faith. And the next one was God's action for us. God will not give up on us. He won't desert us. He won't let us go. He looks for us with His grace and His redemption. And so one time there was an earthquake in Armenia in 1989, and the school was just completely crumbled, and the children were in the school. And they said, they're all dead, we can't do anything about it. But one of the little boy's father had told his son that he would never forsake him. So he went, after the shaking of the earthquake stopped, he went and he started digging and digging and digging, and he did 8 hours and 16 hours. And people said, don't do anything, there's nothing we can do. You're just scratching up your hands, and it's futile. But after 38 hours, he heard a sign, and his son was down there. And he said, Dad, it's me. And he said, I told the kids you would come because you said you would never leave me. And I told them that if you saved me, you would save them. And that's what happened. So God pulls us out of the rubble. Every time we get into a jam, God will pull us up out of the rubble. So we have these 3 miracles of Christmas. The first is Mary's faith. The second is Elizabeth's encouragement. And the third is that God will never leave us, no matter what happens. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.